Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, hashtag Dugong Chino Pusong Pinoy is brought to you by Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities, BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific, AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc., Jimmy C.
The language being spoken in the Minnan region of Fujian province, and many of the Chinese immigrants who left Minnan for the Philippines.
Just as we say Tagalog heritage, Cebuano heritage, we can also say Lannang heritage.
There was really no resources that I can find that where I can really see na, hey, this is the Hokkien way, this is the Lanang way that we speak at home.
So, merong doctor, may dentist, may chemist, actors, actresses, or any field. They're just doing their thing, but then sometimes they talk about their culture.
The Chinese practice of religion has helped in the preservation of the language and culture.
I realized that the Chinese is more Filipino than we think, and the Filipino is more Chinese than we think.
I'm Wilkinson Daniel Wong Gonzales, and I'm an assistant professor at the Department of English at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. The term Lannang, it came from the Hokkien phrase Lan-lang, which basically literally means our people. Historically, this Lannang group or Hokkien heritage group encountered a lot of discrimination back in the day, so much so that they had to form a band together as a group in order to survive. The term Lanang came out of survival. Lan-lang is literally our people tongue or our people language or speech. I think it's really important to acknowledge that there's a lot of variation in the Chinese Filipino society, in Philippine society, and therefore it's important to really empower this term and to distinguish it from other terms like Chinoy. We should also acknowledge the fact that these two terms, Lannang, Chinoy, Chinese and Filipino, these are all interrelated, like they are linked somehow to at least to some degree. It's necessary to regard Lanang as an ethno-linguistic group, meaning a group that has a particular, that defines its ethnicity, at least a lot of it, based on the language that they speak, which is, in this case, is Lanang Oe, right? Which could mean Hokkien or it could mean very mixed language that includes Hokkien, a Philippine language, and English. The most common criteria is the use at least understanding or being able to communicate in Lanang Oe. Not just the language, it's also about the experience, basically, like having a certain set or at least being socialized into certain sets or ways of thinking.
There's evidence actually that the word Lanang was already in use at the beginning of Spanish colonization. And we say because there is actually a dictionary that was produced by a Franciscan friar. His name is San Buenaventura, and he came out in 1613 with a dictionary, Vocabulario Lenguaje Tagala. It is a dictionary of Tagalog words, and one of the words that is found in that dictionary is Lanlang. And so this was in 1613, and then in 1754, two Jesuits by the name of Noceda and Sanlúcar updated this dictionary and also included that term Lanlang, and in their definition, it was said that Lanlang is a word that ancient, and I quote, ancient Tagalogs used to refer to Sangleyes. And in Hokkien, this term means someone who comes often, or Xiong-lai. So this was a term that became official, but I think that amongst the Chinese themselves, they continued to use Lan-lang to refer to themselves. And so over time, if you want to know who are the Lang-langs, then you would have to look at the history of the Sangleyes, who were the Chinese in the Philippines. Over time, the Sangleyes also intermarried with local women, with the Indios, and they produced a generation of what we might call half-breed or mixed-blood children, and the Spanish colonial state called them Chinese mestizos. The Chinese mestizos were also were asked to either choose to become Filipino or Chinese. And that's how the Lannangs experience, the kind of discriminatory policies, and that also changed, the meanings of Lanang over time. The term Lannang, and along with other ethnic terms, are quite fluid and they're malleable and they change meanings over time and space. So the word Lannang, while used in the Philippines, pertains to a very specific socio-historical context, that differentiates the Lanang here and the Lannangs in other countries.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, #Dugong Chino Pusong Pinoy is brought to you by Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities, BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific, AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc., Jimmy C., Chua Beng Teng, Real Estate Hub, Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation, Japan Parts Trading Center, Nung Family, Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner, Global Diesel and GU Engineering, Enrique Chua, Sherwin Choi, Albert Ko, Evergreen Cereals, Western Guarantee Insurance, Imperial de Jesus, Jersey Haven, PG Flex Linoleum and Maruyama Tarpaulin, Aningo, Veco Paper, SM Supermalls, Philippine Jinjiang General Association Incorporated, Thomas Kua.
Ano ginagawa mo?
Mark, yun yung sinasabi ko sa'yo, bilihan ko ng mga magagandang duster.
May something! Uwishi crispy patata!
Sobra akong bilib sa'yo. Yung mga ginagawa mo araw-araw, how you do it, why you do it, every day, it's with the purest of love. Because your love is pure. Your love is absolute.
Choose to be greater with Summit Natural Drinking Water.
Our drinking water of choice that helps refresh us with the right hydration.
At nagbibigay ng right minerals.
Summit Natural Drinking Water. Thirst for more.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart.
Mostly when you use Lanang, it's usually in the family, or if you're going to interact with other Filipino Chinese, other Lanang, or when you're in local Chinese organizations, they speak Lanang in the stage. That's most of the times that you hear Lanang in the Philippines.
In terms of language, for the Lan-lang or the Chinese Filipinos, their tendency is that they want to worship in the language and culture that they practice. And so, for example, in the case of the Chinese immigrants, when they first came in the Philippines during the American period, many of them have background from Reformed or Presbyterian tradition back in Xiamen in China. And so when they came to the Philippines, they also wanted to continue to worship God in the language that they are comfortable with. And so the language and religion of the Chinese in the Philippines are intricately related. And so they cannot do one or the other. So when they started the Chinese churches in the Philippines, they employ Lanang or Hokkien in their services. And so this is how the bilingual services started. This is around the 1980s. And so with the bilingual services, the preacher preaches in English or in Mandarin or in Hokkien, and then the translator will be the one translating the sermon into English. However, in the 90s, eventually there are separate services for the English and a separate service for the Hokkien, or what they popularly called Amoy services. The Catholics and the Buddhists, they also employ Hokkien or Lanang way in their services. For example, early on, the Chinese Catholic parishes, they also have Hokkien masses. But eventually, because the decline of Hokkien-speaking priests led to the cessation of the Hokkien masses. So in the end, the Chinese parishes simply have those Chinese congregants, but they don't necessarily have Hokkien masses anymore. However, for the Buddhists, they continue to have this Hokkien as part of their rites, as part of their chantings, and even in their daily devotions. So the religion and the language employed shows us how important for the Chinese in their practice of religion and even the preservation of their culture. And so the use of Hokkien or the Lanang way in the services, whether that be for the Roman Catholics, the evangelical Christians, or for the Buddhists, has somehow helped preserve the language.
I think what's important is that through whatever we're doing in social media, indirectly or directly, we promote awareness and acceptance of our identity and our culture as Lanang.
Le to the word hungry. Hungry is not a verb, it's an adjective. Le yaw, nagha-hungry.
Social media is very influential, and I think it has a very important role, especially to the younger people, because they spend so much time in social media. And we know that whatever you're spending time at, it will indirectly or directly influence you. And if we look at the survey also, most of the TikTok users are the young people. And so I think we can utilize TikTok or any other social media platform to also promote our culture and language.
So film is a form of mass media, and may it be through the theater houses or streaming, it really has the most reach across all generations. And so we can see how film is very critical in influencing and promoting Lanang culture and the use of Lanang way, because film is both an image-based and a sound-based medium. And so we can see the people in a film as well as hear the way they sound. And so whenever we watch a film, we don't just partake in a story, but we meet characters, the way they act, the way they move. And so we grow our sense of what it means to be Lanang by watching them.
Still nothing, ako.
Proper representation of Lanang or Chinese Filipino in cinema is very important. And though there are representations of Chinese Filipino in them, I've always grown confused as to how their representations are, because although there are glimpses of the community in them, I feel like because they're acted in by or they're portrayed by non-Chinese Filipinos, I feel like there are things lost in translation in the films and the television shows that I watch. And so when I finished studying film and communication back in university, I really wanted to try and attempt and see how we can imagine the Lanang on screen. So when I was making my short film back in 2021, despite being Chinese Filipino myself, I only knew of my very specific Chinese Filipino background and my own family. Attempting to make Lanang way or even a Lanang film was very difficult. It was more difficult than I thought, because having made short films in the past, I didn't realize that it would kind of change my process in creating the film. Because I tried to make the dialogue, of course I wrote the action in English and Filipino, but for the dialogue, I decided to write it in Lanang way. So that brings up questions of how do you write it? Do you use Lanang orthography, or what romanization do you use? And at the same time, while I was directing the characters, the actors, I wanted to use Lanang way as well, because I feel like there's a different sense of self that you get to embrace and you get to go into when you use Lanang way. And so Lanang way is not just what we hear in the film, but also kind of the spirit that animated the film in general.
There's a lot of material made by Kaisa that celebrates a lot of Lanang heritage. But in my opinion, as a whole, there's still so much to be made. So many more academic material, so many more media that can be made to help preserve Lanang heritage in the Philippines. I guess understandable assumption maybe for many Filipinos is that the Chinese living in the Philippines, the Philchai, the Chinoy, the Lan-lang are basically just Chinese in the Philippines. I guess most Filipinos don't think that the local Chinese have our own culture, our own way of speaking, our own way of doing things that can't be found anywhere else. And these efforts to promote Lan-lang culture sets a spotlight on our heritage and makes people realize na, hey, we have something different here in the Philippines that's not found anywhere else. In my research of local Lanang, I found that we use so many unique words not found anywhere else in the world that, in my opinion, gives us a glimpse of the struggles that our ancestors had when they came here in the Philippines, because these local words were all formed because they had to struggle speaking with local Filipinos because they didn't speak the language, and these words all evolved because of that. If we don't document this, we don't pass this to the next generation, and they never know that their ancestors that came to the Philippines, they spoke like this. And that's why I feel like it's very important. One, so that future generations can easily learn Lanang. And second, to help preserve that screenshot of our ancestors went through when they first immigrated in the Philippines. Back then, I already thought that there should be a local dictionary made, because all the dictionaries that you can buy are all from other places. They don't have the local words, local definitions, local meanings. It started off with me interviewing my parents, my dad and my mom every night, and then asking them, do you know this word? Do you know this word? And making sure that they all say this word the way it's pronounced, what it means. So every night, just before they sleep, I would be the person that would disturb them, and then they would say in Hokkien, matutulog na ako, stop na. Then that's how I started a dictionary. Currently, there are around 7,000 words in dictionary, and the effort is still not yet over. It's not easy to make a dictionary. It's not easy to list so many words and then make sure everything is correct, and then to proof check everything. And then at the same time, while researching Hokkien and making this dictionary for Lanang, I found out that even the local Lanang in Metro Manila, we speak Chinese differently. We speak Lanang differently. When I ask this family, they would say it like this. When I ask this family, they would say it like that. And I noticed na parang we never noticed. Parang even my parents, when they interact with other Lanang, they never noticed that we all speak differently. And I found it very cool, but at the same time, it's an extra challenge because I have somehow to preserve all these different variants in one dictionary.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. #Dugong Chino Pusong Pinoy is brought to you by Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific. AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc. Jimmy C. Chua Bangtang. Real Estate Hub. Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation. Japan Parts Trading Center. Nung Family. Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner. Global Diesel and GU Engineering. Enrique Chua. Sherwin Choi. Albert Ko. Evergreen Cereals. Western Guarantee Insurance. Imperial de Jesus. Philflex Wires and Cables. Conchita Go. Verleo Catering. Philippine Valve Manufacturing Corporation and Nation Manufacturing and Industrial Products Corporation. Jersey Haven. SM Supermalls. Philippine Jinjiang General Association Incorporated.
Spritz Hard Seltzer? Is it sparkling water?
No.
Is it soda? Beer? Hard? No!
It's a spiked sparkling sensation.
Low sugar, low calories, low ABV.
Refreshingly. Spritz!
Una sa lahat, salamat sa'yo. Kasama ka sa lahat ng una sa buhay ko. Unang kiss namin, ikaw ang saksi. Unang gitara ko, unang sweldo, T-Ice para sa tropa. Una sa lahat, ice ang sarap.
Oishi Bread Pan. Pinasreses ang baong bread slices na may crunch. Oh, wow!
In all my years, I've learned that you can never give too much of your time for the things and people that you love. With so much that I do, I need to remember to prioritize my physical and, of course, oral health. As we age, our gum potentially recedes. As it recedes, it causes swollen or bleeding gums, and worse, tooth sensitivity or pangingilo. I use Gumtech because it has ingredients like allantoin and vitamin E that helps prevent bleeding gums. It also helps reduce plaque buildup that causes gums to recede further. Gumamit ng Gumtech Sensitive Toothpaste na may dynamic desensitizing system para tumulong umiwas sa pangingilo. Happy tayo with Gumtech. Pair your toothpaste with Gumtech mouthwash.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart.
We do have some like grassroots efforts. Like I know a couple of my friends who have like small Hokkien classes, small Lanang classes on TikTok. But apart from that, I don't think there are a lot of like materials that are tailored for the Lanang experience or the teaching of Lanang as it is spoken and used in the Philippines. I think there are not a lot of work done on Lanang and Lanang, which is the whole reason why we have this advocacy where what we're trying to push for a movement for Lanang recognition and empowerment. I helped try to establish Lanang Stories, which is basically a non-profit as of now, also trying to develop materials and books using the languages spoken. The Lanang storybook that is created in Lanang or in other possible languages that are spoken by the Lanang community. So we're talking about languages that are mostly written in Lanang. When I say Lanang, we're not just talking about very conservative or very pure Hokkien, we're also talking about the very mixed and very local, very Filipinized version of Lanang as well. So we want to raise awareness, and is that Lanang is very much a living and dynamic language that is still being used a lot today. So the Lanang Archives is again a non-profit organization. It's basically a group of people who are very interested in preserving, conserving, embracing, and empowering the languages that we have. We're very interested in preserving and documenting Lanang. One of the things that organization is trying to promote is celebrating language like Lanang in all its forms. Archives online library tries to store as many of the materials, online materials or scanned materials that are available on Lanang heritage as well as Lanang languages like Lanang. In the future, we're thinking about developing materials in other mixes of language as well, like Chabacano influenced Lanang, for example. So that's kind of like what we want to do. We want to create materials by Lanangs for Lanangs. The Lanang Symposium, which basically aims to provide a space to connect different generations of Lanang heritage people. Our goal really is to connect people, like-minded people who share the same goal, same vision, and same goal to preserve and celebrate Lanang and the heritage.
I'm proud to be Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, or Dugong Chino, Pusong Pinoy, because it speaks of our diversity as a person. So we're born in the Philippines, we live here, everything, we are exactly the same with Pinoy. We're 100% Pinoy, except we have another culture, which is the Lan-lang culture.
So what makes me proud to be Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, or Dugong Chino, Pusong Pinoy? Part of my identity always involves both worlds, being Chinese and being Filipino.
I'm proud proud to be Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, or Dugong Chino at Pusong Pinoy. Because I am a hybrid Chinoy. I cannot be one without the other. And so I am very happy and proud to be born in the Philippines. And I do love the Philippines. And yet I also celebrate my ethnic heritage.
I am proud to be Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, or Dugong Chino, Pusong Pinoy, because I come from two very diverse and rich cultures. And as I grew up and learned about the long history of the Chinese in the Philippines, it's not actually as different as we think. As I approach my filmmaking, I hope I get to show that culture, that beauty, in the stories that I tell to both the Chinese Filipinos and the Filipino community.
I don't really believe that we can be differentiated by blood, because there's no such thing as a Chinese race or a Filipino race or a person with Chinese blood. You know, people are not born with a certain kind of blood, you know, that distinguishes them from other people. And the race is a construct. You know, race is an invention to differentiate different types of people. But I only subscribe to differences in culture or ethnicity, so that I may identify as ethnically Chinese as well as ethnically Filipino. While I support the efforts to build more integration between Chinese and Filipinos, I think that we should go beyond the concept of identities that are derived from nation-bound perspective.
I'm very proud to be Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart, Dugong Chino, Pusong Pinoy, because I get to have the best of both worlds. There's a connection between both cultures that becomes more powerful. Lanang and Lanang would not exist if there was no Philippines.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. #Dugong Chino, Pusong Pinoy was brought to you by Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Dash Cargo, propelling possibilities. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific. AgriPro Premier Nutrition Inc. Jimmy C.,